Okay, Amos, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Good morning, sir. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, good morning, all. Good morning. Mr. Amos, you are talking. Unmute yourself.
Good morning.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Right, very well, very well. How are you? Good morning.
Okay, good. Good. I can hear you. I'm fine. Good morning, sir.
That's all right. So we'll give ourselves some time for. That's a good number here. Mr. Rotimi, I can see Mr. Lagbe. I see, I think Mr. Emmanuel, that should be ITI. Yeah, Mr. Jawali.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Who is that? I think that Mr. Jawali.
Anthony Ojawale from.
Excellent, excellent. Yes. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Nice work, sir.
So, thank God.
Well done, sir.
Merci beaucoup. So, there's about 2 minutes to go. We have I hope sounds coming from Mr. Adedino. Mr. Adedino, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Excellent. Good morning. Well done.
Well done, sir.
Yes, I can get Mr. Ajayi.
Good morning, sir.
Hello. Yes, I'm sure they were tracking you. I was following them to track you. Let me share.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's Mr. Junaid just coming in. Good morning, Mr. Junaid. Mr. Junaid, good morning. Yusuf, that should be trust you. Okay. Right. Good morning, Mr. Junaid. How are you? That's mission. I have trust yield, I guess. Mr. Toji. So it's 11. Good morning, gentlemen. So I think we can just please unmute yourself. Let's just introduce ourselves, please. Unmute yourself.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you? So let's please introduce ourselves so that.
Fine, sir. Shina Junaid, representing Mission Securities.
Excellent, excellent. So I have Mission in the house. Mr. Ajayi.
Ajayi from Rainbow Security.
Excellent, great, thank you. Casual.
Hello?
Good
Good morning, sir.
Let's just introduce ourselves.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, it's Amos Bello from Cashville.
Thank you. You're welcome. Standard Union.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
My name is
morning.
Alagbe Adediran from Capital Express Securities.
Excellent. That's Capital Express Securities. Thank you very much there. Any other house? We have Dora Benson. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Dora Benson or oh, excellent. We have Imperial in the house. Okay, I think we've heard from Standard Union, right? Standard Union.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go
Good
ahead.
morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Anthony Ojewale from Standard Union Securities.
Standard Union, thank you so very much. We've had Standard Union, we had Capital Express, Rainbow Securities, Cashville, and Nation Securities. Please, let's get to meet you more. I think I have Imperial in the house. Please introduce yourself. Good morning. We have Imperial Asset Management in the house. Please, let's get to meet you. We are actually going to be very brisk, very brisk, because we just go straight to the main subject matter, which is the OTP implementation. And we want to first start by what progress we have made, and we share what experiences we have, if any. So while I just assume introductions will continue, let's see how. I think that first and foremost, the whole essence of the OTP was just to ascertain that an access to an operator can be, do I say, more protected, that is to offer some protection to users, whether as a staff or whether as a customer who actually logs onto his portfolio account. So please let me just seize this opportunity to share that for you to implement these aspects of the process requires some data cleaning. Why am I saying data cleaning? Many of us have been in stockbroking for decades, and we can imagine what some of our old records are looking like. You know, on one hand, as we complain about emails, because about now is the new world where notification communication rides over the internet, and the means or the conveyance for these possibilities are made possible by email addresses to contact accounts and things like that. So it now becomes very important that some of our old data, if perchance anybody is interested to get a spool of all account IDs and email addresses of customers that do not, or accounts that do not have email, perhaps you can make a request, and I'm sure this can be extracted to furnish you for some attempt to try and update this account with email addresses. Because one of the features that I'm sure right now, so many people may not even know is available in the system, where email addresses to accounts are relevant and useful for, is take for instance, birthdays of customers, for which every day by about 5 a.m., between 5 and 6 a.m., this application actually must have served all your customers whose birthdays are due, say today, for instance. And you will imagine that all such accounts that are having wrong email addresses, one, or no email addresses at all, may not enjoy such benefits. You know, so data cleaning is an internal thing, because some time ago we actually had some discussion by the NSC. I think it was actually upon invitation. They wanted to know what best way, what can be done. And the NSC was of the opinion, was actually trying to see how they themselves can begin to claim data. And I had to let them know that that would be a very Herculean task for the NSC or even CSCS to want to claim the data for you. Instead, the brokers are in a better position to claim their company's data, for which they can now furnish them something that may be much more accurate. Same thing is now the need for telephone numbers. Same thing for the need now for telephone numbers, because one of the very key ingredients for the OTP we have implemented now uses the telephone numbers, and therefore means that our telephone numbers will need to go with the country codes. Perhaps for future account opening, we're just mentioning now that for future account opening, please just try to see how you can add country codes to telephone number. These are just some of the precautions I think we need to look at our data going forward. We will go ahead and assume the majority of what you have on ground will maybe plus 2, 3, 4, which of course you can actually still edit the ones that may not be correct, because we may not know, assuming a number is of another country as we speak. But I'm sure for 70% of most of the data that you may have, 70% above or so, maybe that they may just need the plus 2, 3, 4 to comply. So that is a lot easy from the support end to do that for most of the data that we already have on ground and for all those that have numbers. So we will actually implore that going forward, account maintenance should try to incorporate the country codes plus so, like in Nigeria plus 2, 3, 4, because in implementing this new two-factor thing, notifications will be shared with numbers, and the this product may want to first ride on the country code before it can actually target the number of the information it is trying to convey. And I think that is actually very relevant and important information that is needed for us to share. And like I told you, it's actually a very simple process, not anything too difficult or a thing to waste any time for, but that what will even make us to even get started was even the biggest of the problem. And that was why we had to share this information much earlier, so that we can be in the know and of course have a better preparation towards this. I think if we understand, or if we follow the information originally, we actually mandated your organizations to register. We mandated that the organization should register on the Twilio account so that you can own an official account for your organizations, not private. And in the course of doing this, because if you want to go private, there are certain questions that the organization Twilio may be wanting to demand from you, and you may not have all the best or good answers to be able to address that. Even as a developer, I may not have the best of information to tell Twilio the need I want to subject that to for. Because one thing about this organization is that they do not believe too much on Nigerian enterprises. So when you want to use some of these services, they want to go all out to do their due diligence to ascertain that the organization that they are trying to protect is even a legitimate enterprise. So as a result of this, it will require that we offer them certain information for them to go do certain basic information search. Sometimes they even get to the site of the Corporate Affairs Commission to verify certain things about what we are trying to apply, and that means that they really will not want untrusted companies to take these services, because they should believe that they are addressing and working with legitimate organizations, and that is how important this has been. So I think, having said some of this, we will perhaps just inquire from houses if we have made attempts at all, and perhaps we can share what experience or difficulty we have. That's one. At the same time, please, we would also want, if you have made some attempts and there's some progress, perhaps, for instance, you have registered and you've gotten your account approved. If you can actually have one or two things to share with all of us, because we all need information, we all need the information to improve how we can go in our various houses. So once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will, it's another house we rather have right now. I will actually try to see how we can, let us have any house, please, you can just make it by raising up your hand. Let's talk about if you have made attempts and you have a progress, you've made some progress. Please, you can just use the hand raising symbol to let us try to hear from you what feedbacks you may want to share with us. Thank you so very much. And welcome for the rest of us just joining in. Yes, I can see. Please, before that, let me just take some more people. I can see Dumbbell. Please, Dumbbell, sir. Can you just introduce yourself? Hello, Dumbbell. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. You are muted. Unmute yourself. Just introduce yourself briefly. I can see Zion.
Good morning, Mr. Amos.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Please introduce yourself briefly, sir.
Okay, I am Mr. Idu Babatunde, Head IT Department Unit of Zion Stockbrokers and Securities. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Well, you're welcome. Let me have Mr. Fred now. Good morning, sir. Please, could you just introduce yourself, sir? Mr. Fred sound seems so. Please let me have Kelly Securities.
Good morning, sir.
Yourself, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
My name is Chika from Kelly Security from IT Department.
Thank you so very much, Kelly Securities. Can I have FCSL is also in the house? FCSL in the house. FCSL, you can unmute yourself. FCSL, you can unmute yourself. Hello, good morning there. Please, you have the floor. Just introduce yourself.
Good morning, Mr. Amos. This is Laulu from FCSL.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so very much. Okay, we'll just continue. If any other person there, I may not have noted, but then let's just continue. So we're trying to see, we want to hear from anyone who has made the trial. I have opened an account. Successful or I have riches. Can we share, please? Okay, I said that if you have used it, if you have gone to the twilio.com domain and you have attempted to open an account for your corporate organization and you have initiated that and you have been successful or you have any hitch, can you just share with us what the success is or what the hitch or challenge could be? Oh, excellent. So please let me have Mr. Abiola Owolabi. Please unmute yourself, Mr. Abiola Owolabi.
Hello, good morning. Abiola Owolabi, NIT Dumbbell Security. Securities.
Good morning, sir. Welcome, sir.
Can you hear me, sir?
Go ahead, sir. You have the floor. Good morning, you're welcome. Are you okay? You're just introducing, sir. Hello, Mr. Walabi.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Very well. You can hear you very well. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is Abiola Wolabi, Dunbar Securities.
Excellent.
Sorry, I'm in the server room trying to do something.
Oh,
I have
no.
done the Twilio. I've created the Twilio account.
Yes.
It was relatively easy to create, and there was a two-factor authentication that sent me an OTP to confirm and to activate from my email. It was seamless and quite easy.
Okay. Noted, Mr. Wolabi, but then I'll come to that. Can you verify if the account is currently verified? Because there's actually a status we will need to know that Twilio has verified. Excellent. Thank you so very much, from Dumbbell. Excellent. So please, another contribution, sirs.
Yes, it is verified, sir.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Bola.
Yes, it is verified.
Thank you very much. We have heard you. Thank you so very much. So that was actually a contribution from Dumbbell Securities.
Yes,
please, can I have Imperial? I think we shared a few things. Imperial Asset Management.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm on the road, so my network is bad. Like other person said, it was the requirement is that you have to have the official email and also an official telephone line, mobile telephone line. When we did ours, it was easy, and we got the OTP on the phone and we keyed in. As at yesterday, we have an agent assigned to us. I shared the mail from the agent with you, Mr. Amos.
Excellent.
So it's all the that we have to do. Thank you.
So there's actually one lesson here. But one lesson from this last contribution is that the telephone number has to be identifiable with the organization for whatever reason. So you can imagine how much this local enterprise suspicion is for foreign organizations. But then that they need to even look at the number that we are using, that the number is of the organization. So we can look at that detail. So that it's not as if like it's an outsider trying to play on the intelligence of what we are trying to put together for that organization. So that becomes relevant. And of course, the email addresses to use is also important. So these are the concerns. Thank you so very much, Mr. Simon from Asset Management. Sorry, any other contribution? Indicate by raising up your hand. Just use the raising of the hands flag. Okay, excellent. Yes, Mr. Olagoke, please unmute yourself. You have the floor, sir. Mr. Olagoke, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, everyone. This is Olagoke. I'm the head of IT for Main Street Bank Securities. So, so I joined kind of late, so I just wanted to gain clarity with regards to.
Excellent. So first, okay.
So is it a okay? No, please go ahead.
Okay, Joshua, since you said you just joined us, first that we've done what we have done, that is you have introduced yourself as from Main Street. So, but then the next was that we wanted to hear from people who have ventured creating the accounts, whether it was successful for them or they had any hitch that they can share.
Okay, sir.
So you made a trial. If you can contribute something to that.
I'm not giving it a trial. So
okay, excellent.
I wanted to give it a trial. But I just wanted to ask: is it a paid service or?
Because it's a free service? No. You will start with a free, but because I'm sure it comes with a volume free in dollars. But then, as the service is being exhausted, you just have to be billing. You have to be just like bulk SMS accounts. sort of.
Okay.
You see, the worrisome thing is that there are so many local options we know of. But please, gentlemen, look at the reason why this. There are actually so many other local options that we are aware of. But guess what? From the picture we got is that so many organizations offering this service, they look for a way to harvest the telephone numbers that your customers are using to access the account that you are even trying to protect. And this data is used for other marketing purposes. And this is the reason why we have to share with you why our direction towards these people, because it's always a concern if I want to pick on anything new, that I want to really get the details and know what exactly I have to do along that area. So that is why the Twilio account option came much more recommended as it is. So thank you so much. All right, please, thanks. Let's get more contributions.
One final question, sir. While Twilio makes sense. Okay, sir, one final question, sir. While is basically accessible, but has this thing been considered like app-based soft tokens for these authenticator applications like maybe Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authenticator? Like, is that also being considered?
Like I told you, there are several things that we consider before we are settling for this. If any other thing is to happen, it will be an optional consideration in the course of this implementation, because we should be live with the two-factor stuff between now and end of month, you know, as planned. But before the end of month, this education, this awareness is very important, because as a vendor, there is very little we should do about the internal security of organizations, which is very critical. And we always try to make organizations try to understand this, that these things have to be domesticated internally as much as possible. And that is why the leadership of the IT is very essential. So thank you so very much. Please, some more contributions. Some more contributions, please. Or please, I would like to hear, I have ventured, but I have a problem. So we can share it together. I have ventured, this is the problem we have. Please, can we try to share? It's not about me. It's actually it's an interactive session. Let us share all the things. Like for instance, some lessons I got from one of the speakers the other time was that he actually first started this thing using a particular telephone number that was personal to him, and for some reason something just didn't go well until he had to change to a corporate number. So, and that's giving, you know, some good results. And I think later on, the issue with me, after we were done, they would send like a congratulatory email. At that stage, your account is active. Because I want to move to the next stage of what we need to do next when we get this right. So please let us try to see what if I ventured, what was the challenge, what was the problem? But that's important, please. Zion, please can you share with us? I'll be picking up the doors now. Saturday, Zion Stockbrokers. Mr. Tunde, you can unmute yourself. All right. Let me move to Mr. Oh, excellent. Yes, please. Please let me hear from you, Mr. Jeremy. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, sir.
Okay, sir. Good day, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Very well, yes, very well.
All right, sir. This is Anthony Ojawale from Standard Union Securities. Thank you for this introduction of two-factor authentication, and it's really needed and very important at this time. So my question is going to relate to what the last person mentioned about the costs. I would like to know, because anything SMS based, SMS is not free. So I don't know, I would like to ask how the cost will be, because you mentioned that we'll start with free, then after the credit is exhausted, we'll go to the paid credits.
Excellent.
So what is the rest of the credit like?
Okay.
And who is going to bear the cost?
Okay.
Is it cost each houses, or how do we transfer it to our clients? Who is going to bear the cost?
Excellent. Okay, first,
I would also like to suggest, the soft tokens, like you said. Soft tokens are free if it could be integrated, like Google Authenticator or any of them. So, which also works best for data protection, like you have said, in terms of having to share SMS, phone numbers of people. So I believe that doesn't require phone number to use. So if you can consider that, it will be very fine. But let's just know how much this costs.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Please, my response to that is that, like I told you, there are myriads of options. Are you with me? There are actually myriads of options that we've looked at, and we have to actually consolidate on one. Any other options might just be as optionally as we'll be looking at. Then first is that the cost, like from the experience I got on the Twilio account, I think we're going to have a $14 or roughly $15 opening free credits on every new account. Perhaps if somebody can correct me here, and subsequent to that, depends on you upgrading the, what's it called, and the company upgrading the bulk, because it will just be bulk SMS as it were. It will just be an SMS kind of thing. Now, the test that they are giving you, that test that they are giving you, let me just give you by information. You really may not use it for any serious business, because at that level, I do not know whether you can customize it. And it's not that they are using their own funny, uncustomizable digits. Because when we're sending an SMS to somebody, such a customer should at least have an idea of what company is triggering such a message. So some name that is close to the company's name should be the customization code to be used. So if it is not a funded account, I have a feeling maybe you will not be allowed to use the customized ID on the account. That's the thing. So like I told you, what you are paying there will just depend on how much regularly you want to upgrade. And of course, this will depend on your size of customers and how busy you are actually using the application. That's what it is. In terms of costing, I really don't know. Whatever, I'm not ascertaining that. That depends on the size of frequency of utilization and is internal. We're having more people. Yes, please. Yes, please.
So, sorry, sir.
Option.
I believe I believe the SMS rate is per message. So, do we have an idea of how much it costs to deliver one SMS?
So you are free. That's why you are free to connect. Then I can do the mathematics. I really have not done this, please, particularly for Twilio.
Okay.
Yes, you can actually do this mathematics, and of course, it can actually be discussion. So thank you so very much for that. Any more persons we have not interacted with in the house? See Foresight, is that Foresight? I can see some more houses, but then please just raise up your hand and let's get your introduction if you have not done so, and we can proceed, because the next will now be that I will share a form. Please, if you have not introduced yourself and wish to do so, you can just flag the hands up symbol so that we can see you. And the next I want to go now is to share a form that you will get immediately after this discussion. And on this form, particularly for those who have been successful, this form is meant to get your data after installation. And once we get your data, it will give us an early startup in making the trials that we have to make within your environment. And of course, within the weekday, we may not be able to do much, but at night, usually between now and the weekend and subsequently, because we need an early trial, because I believe what we need to do with one house will not be the same on another server and things like that. These are some of the experiences we have, but then we need to be able to start on an early basis if we have your data. This data is private. This data is private to your organization and obviously not to be shared. And that is why we're going to share with you a confidential form where the data that you're able to generate will be there, and this is actually what will help us in using to configure your implementation. The data is strictly used for that purpose. Right, so please can we get more contributions, please? Let's get more contributions. I have tried, I'm having a challenge, or I have tried, these are the lessons before it was successful. Please can we share with the rest of us? Can you share with the rest of us, please? We've been kind to hear from Dumbbell. We've been kind to hear from the success of Imperial Assets. We want to hear more stories, more success or challenge stories to learn from. Or perhaps a question. Yes, please. Please, yes, please.
Okay, I want to ask on Twilio, while registering, you know, you get to a stage where some questions are being asked about which Twilio product do you want. We know it's SMS. Then for identification and verification, then it's asking what is your preferred coding language.
Let me just share one thing first. From the experience I got on that installation, on that installation process of Twilio, is like there are some parts that are actually strictly dedicated to developers. And I want us to have this at the back of our minds. Like I shared with Twilio, my customers are stockbroking firms. There are no programming or coding organizations, but they have application that is to use that service. So what that simply means is that all the coding that is required may have been addressed by the vendor of the software in your application. So you are not coming from the point of development. I don't know whether this information will help. You are not there from the point of developing anything. In fact, no code. I don't think so, because the application is what should address the integration, which would have been sorted before we are going for implementation. All the application needs are just your internal parameters. So, Mr. Labi. Hello, Mr. Labi. Okay.
I'm listening, sir.
Excellent. So, we try to see that you are coming from the point of implementing the activity, not that you are doing any coding any longer. So I think this option, perhaps I will ask one more person to share what options were selected at this point. Can somebody contribute to this point of what selections did we have to go through? This important thing of the I don't. You can still talk to us now. So, Mr. Samuel, if you can still talk to us briefly, what on the options work for you?
That is
not
your coding language.
No, not
your preferred coding language.
Not you particularly. I want to get the contribution from Imperial. Don't know I can talk. Mr. Gulabi? Because the choices can be sometimes. Can you contribute a little bit? What are the options that for a stockbroking firm, like your job board should pick? Because we don't expect they are doing any coding anymore as a stockbroking firm using the service.
Can you repeat the question, sir? I didn't get you, sir. Sorry.
Okay. So the question is this. Somebody wanted to know of the questions that Twilio will ask you. Or please, can Mr. Please, can you just rephrase that question once again, please?
Okay. The question says, what is your preferred coding language? So we have JavaScript, we have PHP, we have Java, Python, Ruby, and others. So for a security outfit like us, what would you, and why would you need it? Did you get the question?
I'm sorry, Mr. Did you get that? Or let me repeat again. Mr. Sami is also, thank God, is now in the office. He was supposed to be one of my facilitators here today, this morning, but the guy. Now, the question is, of the selections that were picked, there was a place about computer language or programming language. What were the choices that you can actually recommend or advise us? Mr. Sami, if you can also help.
Really, you don't need any coding for now, because you don't need any coding, so you skip that. I'm trying to go back to that page so I can actually answer.
It's an important question. Which
what were the answers again? But what were the answers? What other things? There were some options, and I know that we don't really need any coding something, because the developer himself already has what he is going to use.
The options we have here are JavaScript, PHP, Java, Python, Ruby, and
could it have been some earlier selection that brought about the language request?
No, you know,
what level are you in now, please?
You know, once it welcomes you to, you know, that's welcome to Twilio. Then it will ask you which Twilio products are you here to use. Of course, SMS. Then the second question says, what do you plan to build with Twilio?
That's where, sorry, I think we need to go back. Mr. Amos, you remember I was asking you that. I'm not sure it's SMS again. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, you actually said, I did that when I did my trial, but you said SMS was not what you.
Yes, it wasn't SMS I selected. There was something. Is it verify? There was something.
We have SMS, we have voice, we have OT, verify, chats, and conversation, video, WhatsApp, IoT, and wireless.
No, it's an authentication thing we're trying to do. It's not
just authentication. Yes, that option was about
authentication. So we have OT, maybe OT like AUTHY.
Yes,
that's authentication. Yes, that's authentication.
That's the one we should choose.
That's the one. Yes.
Okay, then the next question is, what do you plan to build with Twilio? That's identification and authentication, right? And verification, right?
Yes. I'm trying to log into my own account now.
Okay. Then the next question is still there. Maybe you should log in and because I have been to this stage before, so I have to go back. But I'm using the opportunity.
In fact, let me just share with you that even for my own account, they refuse to approve my own account. Just because they said they really can't see the frequent use. I don't have that need.
Hello, sir. Please, can I come in, sir?
Okay, please. Go ahead, please, sir.
concerning what my brother, Mr. was asking, when you want to start registering on Twilio, I think it will ask you some few questions, of which the programming language of your integration will be part of the questions. As for me now, being aware of the programming language that was used on Integra, that is ASP, this is C#. So I choose C# because it's what you'll be using as integration to integrate with the Twilio's API.
And what did you choose for the very first option?
My brother, please check if you can see
product you are interested in.
If you can see C# or ASP.NET.
No, C# is here. C# is here.
Yeah, you choose C#.
I'm asking what I said which Twilio products are you here for to use? I mean, which did you choose? Authentication, verification, or SMS?
I choose SMS. As for me, I choose SMS. Then the second question.
I chose SMS in the first place, but Mr. Kayode or Mr. Kayode said it should be for authentication. OTP.
I choose SMS. Then the second question, I choose identity and verification.
Yes.
Because the SMS. Are you with me, sir?
Yes, sir.
So the first question, I choose SMS because it has to be with the Twilio has to be sending an SMS to us, to the user, right? So I choose SMS. Then the second one, I choose identity and verification.
Yes. Then the third one you choose with code, customize exactly what you want, right? With code.
No, I choose with no code at all. I think
with no code at all. Okay.
At all. Yes.
Okay, then. Okay, then it will erase the issue of C# then, because once you click with no code, the next question would be, what is your goal today?
Okay, let me just share something here. Whether that language obviously will be very relevant to the issue, because I don't think that was really important anywhere. That also worked, you know. So I think Samuel or Mr. Amon, did you encounter programming language option in the course of yours?
Yes, there was, of course, there will be program language there, but so I did not select anything because I'm not the.
It would be important, yes. I think that would be very important, really. But your choice of C# was great, quite frankly. But then I don't think it's because of that.
Yes.
And did they also choose with code or with no code at all?
With no code at all.
Okay, so with no code at all, then for me, I'm having the questions of what code to be used is totally taken out. And I'm left with only a question, which is, what is your goal for today?
Yes, there's that question. What's your goal for today? I'm trying to remember.
Can you see this, sir?
Explore what my team can build, do something myself, third-party integration, something else, or talk to Twilio experts.
I just choose with third-party integration.
Third-party integration.
Yeah, because programmers will be third-party integration. Excellent. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have done that, then it will just give you get started with Twilio, and that's the end of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So before I click on that one, sir, Mr. Samuel and Mr. Amos.
Yes, sir.
I just want to reiterate, and Mr. George too. You know, I'm just using the opportunity because when you send this about a week ago or something, I was trying to do something. I don't want to just do any form of any mistake. You know, maybe for the.
For you are just like me. I have to sure, but it's actually this experience that we're going to actually just create for today, which is, I think this will now speed up things for the rest of us.
Okay, so for the benefits of everybody who hasn't done this, so this I just want to run it again so that we can be on the same page as in.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, please.
So once you finish with your code and with your registration, or when you finish signing up and all those things, then it will send a code to your phone. Then you use that code.
I don't know whether I can see this. Can somebody see this on my phone? Can you see my phone?
Yes, yes, we can.
Please, can somebody, is it readable?
Yes, it is. Your CLIntegra
login
is 214915 and expires in 10 minutes.
Something like that is what happens, yes.
Okay. So then the next the thing is that he's going to bring about 4 questions there about. The first one says, which Twilo product are you here to use? So I think we need to actually agree on something here, because here we have SMS, we have voice, we have OT, we have verify, we have chat and conversation. Don't let us even go to that side. So between SMS, OT, and verify, I think we have to agree on something.
I think that OT is what works from what we have had now. So, Alan, Alpha, how do you think?
I'm trying to see. I shared something with you. I'm trying to find where I saved it so that I can actually check. You remember while I was doing it, I tried to share some things with you, and so someone can be quite sure of what he's saying at that point in time.
The good thing about this is that this video will be available to everybody, and that's why I had to turn it to a registered event, so that in case we have any information, I'll be able to have email link that can help at the end of the program subsequently in case anybody has any challenge.
Okay, let me see. I think, hello?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, where it asks which Twilo product are you here to use, I selected verify.
Verify, right?
Yes, that's what I selected.
So it shouldn't be OT again.
No, I chose verify. Then
I think he said verify from the beginning.
yes. Then it now took you to what do you plan to build with Twilo?
Identity
and verification. Yes, that's what I selected. How do you want to build? How do you want to build with Twilo with no code at all?
Okay.
Then you see your billing country is Nigeria. Then just click get started with Twilo.
No, there's the last question there too. What is your goal to the third-party integrations?
Okay, all right. So I didn't save that one.
So I can click now.
Yes.
That top party that you chose was right then.
Yes. All right, it's okay.
Okay.
So it will take you to your account. Once you do that, it will take you to your account.
Now, after it takes it to the account, the account at that point is not approved yet. Is that right?
It takes you to your account and
I mean, did they request? I mean, I want us to talk about the next stage. Did they request for you? What did they request from you?
Your email. I shouldn't ask
yes.
It's only upgrade that on the top like that. Upgrade $15.50.
$15.5.
$15.50.
No, but sorry, did they ever ask for documentation?
Can you share the screen? Can you share the screen with us?
So I'm just asking. Did
Can you share the screen with us?
Sorry? Oh, somebody wants to share something? Somebody wants to share something?
Yeah, can you share the screen with us?
I mean,
can you have a look on the screen?
No, is somebody speaking? Somebody speaking?
Yes, from Kashville, Amos Bello. Please, can the man share the screen with us?
Sorry. Oh, you are okay, Mr. Tunde, you are talking. I see your hands up. You can unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself. We can't hear the.
Yes. Can you share?
Is it possible?
Let's see what is complaining of.
Let me know. Mr. Tunde, I want to make you a co-host so you can share anything. You are now, okay, you are
Mr.
now.
Amos, can you see my screen?
Oh, very well, yes, you can see your screen.
Good, good.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
this
what
is
it
okay.
looks like.
This looks like okay.
This is what
It's
it
only
looks
upgrade.
like.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, please, can you show us where we get the, okay, we don't need to share that here because like I told you, those are private data. There's actually a place where you get, let me share the screen. Let me share, please can stop sharing now. Yeah, you can stop sharing now so that we don't go too far into your account, sorry. Now,
So you know
right, let me just, I want to share my screen briefly now. Sorry, I'd like to share my screen briefly now, and then you can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we will now expect there are 3 pieces of data apart from the organization and whoever is sending us this information that we need for implementation. And there are, one, there is one ID, set of long characters, hashed values that is called the Twilio account SID. That's one. There's also one that is the Twilio token. And a third one, that is the Twilio message ISID. These 3 unique codes. This meeting is being recorded. These 3 unique codes is what your house, your organization can use to function in activation of that process. So we'll share this form so we are done now. And in that account, there's a place you go to on your profile where this piece of information can be gotten. So that is what you have to register here. So we know friends who are ready with that data, of course, available for the house for implementation. So it's just as simple as this. I have someone's hands up. Mr. Tunde, you want to share something, please, sir?
Yes, I just want to have more knowledge about it.
Okay, okay.
So at least I'm okay now.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. Then, please, that means that we just made some trials, and that is actually the main essence of all this. And we will be able to gather more experience from any other person. But I think this has actually also really given me some more information that I also required, especially as in the kind of problems that people may have. Please, any other person that may have any information to contribute. Like we said, how will it be implemented? Now, is OTP mandatory? That's another thing. Please, let's listen to this. OTP may not be mandatory, but for us, the provision is available. So one of the requests I want to ask is this. As an organization, we don't want it to be mandatory, because I see a situation where February, some houses may not be ready. That means there's no possibility of an integration. So we need to be able to, of course, make the same standard of the application to work whether the house is ready for OTP or not. So that in our house, will it be at organizational level that we want to mandate every access for an OTP? That's one. And 2, would you want to leave an option for a user to disable and enable a choice? I don't know whether you guys this news. Mr. Amos, did you get me?
Didn't get that, sir.
Okay, but that will your organization, let's look at how we can actually implement and as a strategy of a decision. Is my organization saying that two-factor must be mandatory at every point of access for everybody at all times? That's one. And two,
yes,
we adopt two-factor, but it can be optional that an operator can choose to disable his account and activate anytime he or she wishes. So these are options that we are seeing on applications. What is our position about this? That is forced. And option two, that is optional. And the decision for an option can be particularly a customer access, because that is where the risk and protection is more with. So what do you think? What are those? If I hear anybody, okay, fine. Can somebody contribute to this point, please? What option do we think? Let's see, Mr. John. Mr. John, can I meet? Mr. John, you can unmute, sir. Any other contribution? Mr. Kambi, come in. An option for a first two-factor, or an option with adoption, but with options of members being able to decide or enable. Please let's share, let's talk. It's a free Georgia. Hello, Dora Benson.
I think I'm lost. Are you trying to set up anything, sir?
Oh, no, sorry. I was asking a question and I was seeking a contribution. That will a house choose to want to adopt two-factor and makes it mandatory for every user at every time, unchangeable by anybody? That's one. Or we have an organization that wants to adopt two-factor, but leaves the option of a user disabling and activating at will. We just want contribution on this slide, please.
Sorry, Simos, are you saying that the user should have the right to choose whether he or she wants to use the two-factor thing or not?
That is the second option, yes.
Simos, it's so wrong. If you're going to, it's wrong. If I'm giving you an application, it's like the other person that was asking for is it hard? If the banks will not tell you to make a choice, if that is the way I'm securing my application, I'm securing my application. That's
Excellent.
just it.
Excellent.
There's no way to tell me that you want an option not to. But even for data protection, I have to have a way to protect what I'm offering you.
Okay.
And that's the only way why would I have an SSL? And then somebody might tell you he doesn't want an SSL.
Excellent.
You just allow him going through the thing straight up. So if I'm protecting my application with a two-factor authentication, that is it. It is it, and that is it. Excellent. If I'm going to procure a hard token, like what some banks will do that. Okay, you don't want a two-factor, you want a hard token, and that's it. But you cannot tell me that if it's a two-factor thing I have, that you won't use it. So the option should be token and a two-factor, a soft token, which is a two-factor one. So you decide what you want to use.
Excellent. Okay.
Have the hard token.
Excellent. Please, we get another view. Excellent. Yeah, Mr. Abraham. Please unmute yourself, sir. Mr. Ladigo, sir. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Okay, excellent. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Once you have decided we are going on a two-factor authentication, we have no choice but to go ahead with it because the data protection we are trying to integrate will no longer work.
That's right.
So if we are going on two-factor authentication, we have to go all out for it.
Yeah.
There should be an option. The moment you give an option to disable use, then you are no longer working with the two-factor authentication.
Excellent.
So I will advise that we go ahead with it so that there is no option, because what you want is data security. Thank you.
Excellent. So that's very good. Thank you. Any more comments? Yes. Okay. Mr. Unmute yourself.
Okay, I concur with what everybody is saying, and I'm going to give a scenario. Imagine if someone uses two-factor authentication, fine, he has turned it on. There's a switch for you to turn on or turn off two-factor authentication.
Right.
And let's say on my own system, for instance, I signed into my account. So which means at that point, I have used two-factor authentication to sign in. So if there's a malicious actor beside me, for instance, now, or someone gains access to my system and they turn off two-factor authentication on that account. So at that point, which means going forward until I detect it, two-factor authentication is no longer on my account. I no longer have that security. So I might not even know. Imagine if I don't sign into the account for like 2 days. So which means whatever it is that attacker wanted to do on that account, they would have been able to do, because there was an option to turn off two-factor authentication. So I feel if we are going forward, let's just go forward. Let's just know two-factor is there. It's compulsory. For zero trust architecture, you have to go with it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lagoke. I think at that point, yes, please. Yes, Mr. Chika. Mr. Chika, please, your words. Go ahead, sir. Yes, go ahead, sir.
In a case that the client or one of the user lost their phone to receive an OTP code, can we change? Is it possible for us to change, for me to change their phone number, sir?
Now, you see, after our discussions, now there are actually some other views that will arise from our discussions here. And to be frank with you, we have to share this because of the feedbacks we are getting from the industry and of course operators, because there's actually that readiness for a way to take up this thing and make sure we own it and for its implementation. So where we are not prepared for it, we may not actually achieve should actually give to the utilizations of the environments that we actually, the utilizations of the application that we are even using. It's just like the VAPT that brokers do today. Some people will tell you that VAPT is only relevant for people who do trading. And for crying out loud, any e-business infrastructure is subject to the same attack, whether you are trading or not trading. So this is actually the level of seriousness that some of these things have to be looked at. Now, you now begin to see people that want to look at, oh, if you make it 100% bad, we must do this, that is going to stop certain things, stop certain things. You now begin to have conflicts. But at any rate, a security architecture of today should be looked at with preparation. We need to prepare ourselves into it. If we have not prepared ourselves into it, now we are not there. But then we must prepare ourselves to it. We need to actually groom ourselves into it. And we're not doing this overnight. That preparation is very important. The awareness needs to be run from time to time. So, but I think, quite frankly, that because I see it in other applications, quite frankly, and that's why people want to tell you that, oh, if I choose to disable, let it be that is at my own risk, after blah, blah, blah. But then I think, for us, all provisions are available, but now what I'm talking about is that an organization does have that privilege to adopt what he wants to do. You know, so I think that is actually very understandable. That so far that we don't need an outsider to be mediating on the decisions of security internally. I think that's where the bulk of the issue is. If it's internally considered as to what is to be done, but I think on the general, we have a general opinion of what should really rule. And I think that's very essential and important. I think at this point, if we have other comments, we'll just take time for any other person. Please let's just try, each and every one of us, let's just try out getting the account up as soon as possible. And as soon as we're able to get this up and we're able to start from house to house, we'll be able to, I'm sure we'll have been done by this in no time. And that means that the application that we are having now is what we'll be able to put there. And what that request will mean that, like I told you, depending on what the policy is, depending on how the policy was formed. Because if you have an instance when, for instance, some people don't have telephone numbers. Hello? They don't have telephone numbers. And we are adopting this identification thing with this principle in mind. That means they will now be challenged that way. And I think the adoption of an alternative, may now give rise to that. Whether this in combination can work together or something we need to look at. Because if an account does not have a telephone number, perhaps if I talk to Mr. Ojani, Mr. Adedino, yes, if I talk to Mr. Adedino, please go ahead, please. Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
I have a question to ask. You sent us something like a communique the other time, and you said part of what we need admin staff to share with us the following parameters to customize this feature.
Yes.
Usage, and number one is Trello account SID. Then we can see that from our accounts. Then the other one is Trello token. That one is also there, but Trello message SID, from my dashboard, I can't see anything like that.
There are actually three of them. And Mr. Who else can confirm this, please? Can Sammy help again, sir?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, Mr. Sammy, can you help me? The three sets of data that we need. The message ID, the account token, the account ID. Such
accounting
on your own. If Mr. If he's still in the house, I doubt.
No.
Mr. Today. Okay, Mr. Amon, yeah, please go ahead. Your hands up.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Please give us information. Go ahead.
Sorry, I did not really receive a message to that effect. But just now, I created a Twilio account for myself, but I'm on the stage of. But right now, I'm on the stage of is that verify or SMS? Which one should I pick? So that I can be on the same page with everyone.
Verify. Abi? I think we verify our page.
We agreed verify.
Verify.
That's what we agreed on.
Yeah.
Verify.
Okay, verify. All right. Thank you so much.
Now,
and the second option, what should I pick as well?
Which one?
Second, what do you plan to build with Twilio?
What do you plan? What options do you have?
Yes, I have one. The first text box. Draw box that you see there. Say which Twilio product are you here for? So, and I'm asking, is it verify or SMS? The second box is asking, what do you plan to build with Twilio? So I want to know which option should be.
What options do you have there?
Options there.
Okay. The first option here on what do you identify asset promotion, customer loyalty, but I can see alert and notification, identify and verification.
Identify and verification.
Should I pick?
That's what we choose.
Identify and verification.
Identify and verification. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
The third one, you may need to ask all so that you finish it.
The third one is I can see we code at all, right?
Yes, no code at
and
all.
No code,
yeah, that's the one I picked. So the first one is verified, which I already picked.
So there was a point we were talking about for accounts that do not have telephone numbers. What do we do? And,
hello, Mr.
Because
okay, on that one, I think the onus falls back to you.
Yes.
So that at the point of account creation, you have to put it there as a major
criteria.
Material.
No, right now it's like that. But I suppose our past accounts are even will be their worrisome.
Oh no. For past accounts, it is our duty to go and check whatever is happening. But for now, no phone number, no email, it cannot fly. You click submit, it will not go. So it's a must now. But going backwards, it's us that will have to do that. And at the point where people are requesting that they want to use the fixed access. Like for my house, we have a form that you have to access and then provide all information, which is also now used to authenticate what the operations people must have had there in the old. Yeah. So with that, if it is different, then it has to be correct.
That's right.
But even once the customer completes it, he has to go through like 2 people to authenticate it that it's all right before he can create a fixed account for the customer.
Okay.
So for the old people, that's how you can secure yourself. But for the new people, once account is created, if you don't have that, you have to do that for us and everything. And then secondly, quickly before I allow, you were asking for those APIs, all those SID things.
Yes.
It's going to be, when you get to the side where you see your keys and credentials, you have your live credentials and your test credentials. So what you have the authentication token. Those are the 2 things. On the test credential, you have the text account SID and you have the test authentication token. That's what you have at that part where you have your keys and credentials, API keys and tokens, credentials, connected apps. That's where you see all those ones.
Excellent. All right. So I think that's informative. Like I mentioned earlier, this we will try to convert the video and upload it. And I'm sure just give me an hour and a half at most. This should have been in a YouTube channel, and we'll share the link with you, because I think this was quite resourceful around all of this, because we didn't have any fixed answers to all of this. It's to be based on the experiences. I really thank you all, particularly the early hands that have given us some information there. And if we still have one more person with information that will be relevant, we can still take it before we call it a day. Please, not just flag. If you have any additional information that might be helpful, we should share, because the more we share, the better it is. We know what difficulty anybody may have. And the good thing also is that since the email of everybody, this is about the first time, and I think this is quite good that I could have all the network of the IT people here. So if you have additional information with this regards, it will be easier to share. So in the absence of any information, we might just call it a day, but I sincerely still feel if we have any other information, we can still take it, because we're still within our time. And luckily, launch is now digital, so you can do it while you're online. Right. So, Mr. Chika, if you can Mr. Chika, can you close the meeting for us? I'll take on someone else. Who else in the house? Is Amanda in the house? I thought I saw her the other time.
Excuse me.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead, please.
Just to quickly contribute to what you have said earlier.
Yes.
Just my own opinion anyway. We have some elderlies that use the software as well as some of them either they trade with it or they use it to just be checking their portfolio and all that. I'm talking about our clients now.
Yes, yes, please.
And some of them don't even have email. So if you want to look at it very well, I think we should just resort to a telephone number. They can actually have a change telephone number, and if there's a way we can change it back for them or that shouldn't be a problem. But some of them still find it very difficult to have email or to even check their mail regularly. They find it easy more to check by text message, check their phone contact, or check by WhatsApp. So for that email thing, they always see like they must go to cyber cafe, even though their phone can't do it. So if we can resolve this matter to just telephone, I think it will be easier for us to manage.
Yeah, but
sorry, Mr. Amos. Sorry.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Amos, sorry,
yes,
sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Amos, Mr. Amos, please hold on. You are a developer. We are the ones in the industry. We know these things ourselves. Let's be sincere. Now with CSCS, whether you are elderly, whether you are young, whether you are whatever, you need an email. Even if you go to the banks now, you need an email. So there's nothing like that. This is just for us to open our accounts. By the time you integrate when you do this CSCS integration for account opening, if there's no email there, it will not go. You know, you're working on that one too, so that once you want to create accounts for CSCS, it automatically goes from the application straight to CSCS, and it comes back with the CSCS number already in the something. It will not go. For this Twilio thing we are saying, it's not the issue of email, it's just telephone numbers. But for your account opening to be complete, that is what we're saying, that the email has to be there. And if you CSCS, when you go to do CSCS update, KYC update, you have to put it now.
But you should also notice that some of these people, they even use their sons and daughters' email because they say she is just to fulfill all righteousness. But the phone is one you can track to them.
This the phone for this Twilio thing, this two-factor authentication. It's your telephone that it comes to. It's not, Mr. Amos, are you going to attach it to the email? Are you going to be doing email?
That's
where Mr. Amos.
That is the telephone. Let me share what Mr. Tunde is saying here. Are you aware that in these markets, now, especially now that you have direct cash settlement, is riskier than ever before? Now, some customers' children have access to, in fact, they are the ones that tutor their parents on how they access their accounts. So this actually calls for additional ways of trying to see how you can protect yourself as brokers, because there's huge issues around all this. These children are the ones that actually tutor their parents on how to manage their investment accounts. And please, you can imagine a direct cash settlement transaction is so live in that if the child has initiated, that means he has access to the parents' credentials. That's one. Two, and of course, upon settlement, CSCS has sent it to the account and they are to get notification. In fact, the access to the phones are even with them because they play with the phone every time. So I think that risk is actually there. But how you shift responsibility of risk is important to brokers today. Because as we move forward now, the risks are actually higher. Now, if you look at, I was asking someone now about soft tokens. Soft tokens, for me, they are the least of my implementation decision. But soft tokens, nobody's behind it. It makes life easier. And anything can happen, actually. Because if you want to say that, okay, for an account that does not have a telephone number, perhaps you can actually try a dry soft token implementation around those areas. Then it can be used for an intended action. So I think there's a lot more of what we can do on the criteria of having a telephone number, a valid telephone number that is ascertained by the customer before we are actually giving them access, which is the point to track all this. That is the point of knowledge. The customer has to know what he or she is in is in for. So I think that's that level of KYC is important. That is on that point of entry, and at that point of you're actually confirming what services you're offering to the person, and perhaps because it is online. So I think that is it is actually saying, but then this is the first take on of this. Like I told you, a customer or an organization says we don't even want to implement. Like I'm just telling you this because I know the certain feedbacks I'm getting from some houses. So we're here talking as IT people. There are so many houses that don't even have an IT unit. So these discussions are so important and should be managed internally and democratized, and internally is sometimes even shared with outsiders to manage on behalf of the internal organization, which is even a lot riskier. So I think these are the kind of lessons we need to be very careful, because we're trying to protect the customers. First, the organization in itself has to be protected. Look at even what Twilio is trying to do. Twilio itself is even afraid. It's trying to protect itself because it doesn't want to protect an illegitimate enterprise. So I think there could be a lot more at the back end in terms of more KYC decisions on customer accounts, which is rather very critical as it is now. So thank you so very much, everyone. I can see Mr. Mr. NBC. Oh, sorry, please. Mr. Jeremy, your hands up. Please go ahead, sir. Unmute yourselves.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Thank you for introducing this. And like someone says that we should just, once we are ready to go to two-factor authentication, we just go direct and don't give excuse to say, I don't want to use, except, okay.
Mr. Jeremy, my message is now you are going to attack because I will be talking to Mr. Raphael. It's your head. So I know what I'm talking about. So.
No problem.
All right.
No problem, sir. So I just want to pick a take home from this meeting, like that you say that we should all go ahead and create a Twilio account and get back to and wait
very
for
well,
the
very
form.
well, very well. No, this is it. As I end of this session now, I'm going to share the form across everybody's emails. So you just take your time, ensure you open the account. Don't rush to send it. Ensure the account is approved. I still talk about that approval because because they didn't even give me an amount of time because they wanted me to express how regular I hope to use it. And I don't have a very good reason to give them for my regular use. They believe it might not be about now and the account can be suspended until I can establish how regularly. But what my customers have made, of course, yes, they saw with that. And that is because I now look at it, since I don't have that need as a person directly, it is the clients who should, and they should be able to validate and get them authentication because it is the application that wants to use that. As a test, I have an environment that I do my test quite all right. But then they want to look at enterprises that they really want to go in the long run for the business they want to do one, and of course the protection that they need to ensure that the people working with them, and I'm sure we shouldn't be, this is not strange, because even for SSL services, so many SSL organizations are panicking anytime a Nigerian enterprise is advancing or seeking protection for ordinary certificate protection, you know, and things like that. So these are very mandatory that I'm sure they will demand for certain documentation, which I think we may not really have talked so much about that as much as I know they were asking me to send to them from us, because they'll be requesting for all this documentation just to establish that these are legitimate businesses. And don't forget, they go to Corporate Affairs Commission website to validate the name of the company. In fact, up to the stage of even looking at the telephone number that I'm sure you are using, like somebody said, and ensuring that the number should be associated with the company. So it's actually that timing that it might take for them to approve the account is why we feel we need to give it an early shot to know what decisions and preparations that we have at the end of the day. I wanted to hear from my friend, Mr. Yaya, NBC.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Mr. Yaya, please just introduce yourself. You came in late.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Yaya Abdurrahman from NBC Security Limited.
That's right. That's right.
Actually, I came in late, but so far so good.
The video will be available though.
Understood what. Sir? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please, you have the floor. You are good. I can hear you.
Okay. So far so good. I think I met a little bit of what you are discussing concerning the password. Actually, we have been having challenge on the password issue, resetting the password. Me, I would like to, I don't know if it is possible, because most of our clients, they were saying that if you want to reset your password, you know, on the interface, we have a set page where we have what is it called?
Set link.
Resets.
Yes.
If you click here to reset, you have a box where you have your email and account code.
That's right.
Yes. But most of our clients, maybe, I don't know, you know, the caption on that box says email/account code.
Account ID, yes.
I don't know if it is possible. If it is possible, can we remove the email and let be only the account code alone? Because most of the time, most of our clients, they complain that why are we putting the email there? Because if you put email there, it will not go except the account code. Is that possible?
Let me explain something, sir. I think on one level of security, really, there are two things there. You know, let's also know that as a staff, every staff of the organization.
I'm with you, sir.
I wanted to
meet somebody. Now, as a staff of the organization, we all log in with email addresses.
Yes.
Right. But as a customer that is being given access to the application, they all log in, not with their email, but they log in as their portfolio ID, which is the account ID. That's why the two pieces of information is there. I think it's just for that important knowledge to be shared. And don't forget that we both do that reset at that point.
But sir,
yes.
Sorry to cut you, sir. Yes. But our clients will never understand that that email part is meant for only the staff.
Okay, sorry. Can you suggest anything we can change it to, like ID?
Or you just account code.
I'm sure everybody understands what
the set page.
Yes, I'm sure everybody understands what Mr. Yaya is talking about. Can we just, what name can we change that to? Should it just be ID or user ID? Hello, gentlemen.
Network is...
Hello, gentlemen, please, can we just, hello, sirs. Can somebody just contribute here? Mr. Tunde?
Yes, sir. I just want to contribute.
Do you understand? Please, can we just suggest, if you understand, let us suggest a word that can be used to reflect so that we can remove email or account ID. Maybe we just say ID or user ID. What do you think, sirs?
Network is freezing.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry, I want to just know if you can contribute. Do we just say account ID or user ID instead of removing so that we can remove the email stroke account ID that it says can be confusing to a customer? Wow. I hope I'm heard.
Hello.
Hello. Mr. Chika, let me hear from you, please. Go ahead, sir. Unmute yourself.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Go ahead.
Concerning what someone just said, the issue that someone just raised now.
Yes.
The email or the account code.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that it will be a little bit difficult to use email for clients. In the sense that, there are some clients that have multiple accounts with single email address.
No, that's not what it means. That's not what Mr. Yaya meant.
But now, it's security aspect.
That is not what I meant.
No, that's not what Mr. Yaya meant. Don't just explain it. What he's saying is that if you want to do a research, there's a language there. That language is saying email stroke account ID. So that email is what the staff of the organization uses, and customers use account ID. So I understand that email confuses customers that they don't use their email and they will never be able to research successfully. So my question is, can we just adopt user ID?
Okay.
So as a customer, we know that your ID is your portfolio ID, and as a staff, we know that your user ID is your email. If that is carried.
Hello?
Is that carried? Can you hear me? Is that okay? Can you hear me? Okay.
I can't hear you.
So what I said is that instead of putting email and user ID, can we just remove the two and just say user ID? Mr. Yaya, is that okay? Mr. Yaya? Mr. Yaya? Is that okay?
I'm with you. Sorry, sir. I'm with you.
Let us remove the email and user ID and substitute it with user ID. If that is okay.
Yes, now user ID is okay. You can say user ID.
Yeah, because a staff will know that the user ID is his own.
Says that
customer will know that this is portfolio number. That's all.
user ID / account code. Anyone you want.
Not one word. You just want one word.
Because in-house, we all know that we are using email.
So let's just say user ID then.
Let's just say user ID.
Yes. So please, thank you so very much. A lot of people have done very much. Some people have meeting before myself. I want to thank you so very much. And we've gone this far. I don't want somebody to close. In my session, somebody that comes late will close the meeting. Mr. Mama, close the meeting.
Go ahead now.
Please close the meeting. My next commerce close my entrance, please.
Who will close the doors?
There are two people there. Mr. Brown and another person. I'm sure that is Azan.
Okay. We thank we say very good thanks to you, and then we almost keep serving us better. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Sorry about that, but everyone come and closes my meetings. Thank you so very much. Please go ahead. Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Please be happy that we are having a digital this afternoon, and good afternoon. Thank you so very much once again.